Such were the words of exhortation addressed to the demons by Lucifer. Some of them answered, quote, "Our captain and leader, we are ready to obey thee, knowing how much this woman, our foe, oppresses and torments us. But it is possible that she by herself, without other aid, may resist us, despising all our efforts and attacks, as we have seen on other occasions, when she showed herself altogether our superior in strength. What she feels most is to see us attack the followers of her Son, because she loves them and is solicitous about them as a mother. Let us raise a general persecution against the faithful, for we have at our service the whole of Judaism, now incensed against the new church of the crucified. Through the priests and Pharisees we may succeed in all our attempts against the faithful, and thus vent our wrath against this hostile woman." Unquote. Lucifer approved of this counsel and showed favors to the demons who had given it. Thus agreed, they issued forth to destroy the church by the hands of others, just as they had attempted it through Saul. Thence resulted what I shall relate farther on, and also the battle of the Most Holy Mary against the dragon and his hosts, wherein she gained such great victories for the Holy Church. To this battle I referred in the 6th chapter of the first part, and there stated that I had reserved it for this place. Of it I shall speak in the next chapter. Instruction which the great mistress of the angels gave me. My daughter, by no power of human words wilt thou in this mortal life ever succeed in describing the envy of Lucifer and his demons against men, or the malice, astuteness, deceits, and ruses with which his wrath seeks to bring them into sin, and later on to the eternal torments. He tries to hinder all good works, and such as are performed he tries to minimize, or to destroy and pervert as to their merits. All the malice of which his own mind is capable he attempts to inject into the souls. Against these attacks God provides admirable protection, if men will only cooperate and correspond on their part. Hence the apostle admonishes them to walk carefully amid all these dangers and conflicts, not like the foolish, but as wise, redeeming their time, because the days of mortal life are evil and full of dangers. Ephesians 5:15. Again he exhorts them to be fixed and constant in good works, because their labor shall not be in vain before the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15:58. The truth of this our enemy knows and dreads. Hence he seeks with deepest malice to cause dismay in the souls at the commission of one sin, in order that they may ruin themselves by despair and leave off all good works. For thus would they throw aside the weapons with which the angels can defend them and do battle with the demons. Although these works in the sinner have not the life of charity or of merit for grace or glory, yet they are very useful. Sometimes it happens that on account of the habit of doing good, the divine clemency furnishes efficacious help for performing these works with greater fervor, or with sorrow for sins and true charity, by which the soul regains justification. By all our good deeds as creatures, we open up ways to be blessed to the blessed for defending us, and for asking the divine mercy to look upon us and snatch us from sin. The saints also feel obliged to come to the assistance of those that sincerely invoke them in danger, and that show them a special devotion. If the saints in their charity are so inclined to favor men in the dangerous conflicts with the devils, thou must not be surprised, my dearest, that I am so merciful with the sinners who take refuge in my clemency, for I desire their salvation infinitely more than they themselves. Innumerable are those whom I have saved from the infernal dragon because of their devotion to me, even though they have recited only one Ave, or have said only one word in my honor in invocation. So great is my love for them, that if they would call upon me in time and with sincerity, none of them would perish. But the sinners and the reprobate do no such thing, because the wounds of sin, not being of the body, do not distress them, and the oftener they are committed, the less regret or sorrow do they cause. The second sin is already like wounding a dead body, which knows neither fear, nor defense, nor sensation. The result of this torpid insensibility to eternal damnation and to the deceits of the devils in fastening it upon men is dreadful. Without knowing upon what they rest their false security, the sinners are asleep and perfectly at ease as to their ruin, when they ought justly to fear and take heed of the swiftly approaching eternal death, or at least seek help by praying to the Lord, or to me, or the saints. But even this, which costs them so little, they do not know how to begin until the time in which the conditions of their salvation can be realized has, for many of them, passed away. If for some of them I still procure salvation in the last agony, this privilege cannot be common to all. Hence are lost so many children of the Church who in their ingratitude and foolishness despise the many and powerful helps given by the divine clemency in most opportune time. Therefore also it will increase their confusion when they shall see that, with the mercy of their God, my own kindest wishes to save them, and the charity of the saints before their eyes, they have robbed God of the glory of their conversion, and not afforded me or the angels or saints the joy of saving them in answer to their heartfelt invocation. I wish, my daughter, to manifest to thee still another secret. Thou already knowest that my Son and Lord in the Gospel says that the angels have joy in heaven whenever any sinner does penance and is converted to the way of life through his justification. Luke 15:10. The same happens when the just perform works of true virtue and merit new degrees of glory. Now that which happens among the heavenly inhabitants in the conversion of sinners and in the increase of merit of the just has a counterpart in what happens with the demons at the sins of the just and the deeper falls of sinners. For no sin is committed by men, however small, in which the demons do not take pleasure, and those that attend to the business of tempting mortals immediately give notice to the demons to the eternal dungeons of their successes. There they enjoy them and record them for further use, both in order to press their claims before the divine judge, and in order that their greater dominion and jurisdiction over sinners, according to the measure of the offense, may be publicly known. In this manner they show their treacherous hate of men whenever they succeed in deceiving them into sin by some momentary and apparent pleasure. But the Most High, who is just in all his works, ordained that also the conversion of sinners and the good works of the just should redound to the torment of the envious demons, since they rejoice so much at the perdition of man. This sort of chastisement, therefore, causes great torments to all the demons, because by it they are not only confounded and oppressed in their mortal hatred of men, but by the victories of the saints and the conversion of sinners, they are deprived of a great part of their power over those whom they have drawn into sin by their plots. The new torments thus caused to them they seek to vent upon the damned in hell, and just as there is new joy in heaven at the penance and good works of sinners, so, for the same reason, there arise new confusion and misfortune in hell at the good works of the just. On such occasions, amid howls of despair, the demons inflict new accidental torments upon all that live in those dungeons of dismay and horror. Thus heaven and hell are affected at the same time in contrary ways by the conversion and justification of the sinner. Whenever the souls justify themselves through the sacraments, especially by a truly sorrowful confession, it often happens that the devils for a long time dare not appear before the penitent, nor for many hours even presume to look at him, if he himself does not again encourage them by losing the divine favor and returning again to the dangers and occasions of sin. For then the demons quickly cast off the fear inspired by true penitence and justification. In heaven there can be no sorrow or pain, but if there could be, then the saints would feel it on account of nothing in the world so much as to see the justified souls falling back and losing grace, and the sinner drawing away farther, or making it impossible for him to regain divine favor. Sin of its own nature is just as powerful to move heaven to sorrow and pain as penance and virtue are to torment hell. Consider then, my dearest, in what dangerous ignorance mortals ordinarily live, depriving heaven of its joy in the justification of souls, hindering the external glory connected therewith, holding up the punishment due to the demons, and affording them, on the contrary, the joyful triumph of the fall and perdition of men. I desire that thou, as a faithful and prudent handmaid, be guided by thy higher knowledge, labor in compensating these evils, since that thou always approach the sacrament of confession with fervor, esteem, and veneration, and with a heartfelt sorrow for thy sins. For this sacrament inspires the dragon with great terror, and he exerts himself diligently to hinder souls by his deceits, in order to cause them to receive this sacrament lukewarmly, out of mere habit, without sorrow and without proper disposition. He is so eager in this matter, not only because he wishes to cause the loss of souls, but also to avoid the fierce torments of being oppressed and confounded in his malignancy by the true penance and justification of his escaped victims. Besides this, my friend, I wish to remind thee that although the infernal dragons are indeed the authors and masters of lies, and although they deal with men only in order to mislead and ruin them by their deceits, yet these enemies, whenever in their meetings they confer among themselves in regard to misleading men, are forced to admit certain truths which they know and cannot deny. They understand them, yet they communicate them to men, not in good faith, but obscured and mixed with their own errors and falsehoods, for the promotion of their own malicious designs. Since thou hast in this chapter, and in the whole course of this history, laid bare so many of their counsels, meetings, and secrets, they are highly enraged against thee, for they flattered themselves that these secrets and all their machinations would never come to the knowledge of men. Therefore they are furious to take vengeance upon thee, but the Most High will protect thee if thou call upon him to crush the head of the dragon. Do thou also beseech the divine clemency that these advices and instructions may help to undeceive mortals, and by the divine light redound to their benefit. On thy own part, do thou seek faithfully to correspond, as being under greater obligations to him than all others living in the present age. For if, understanding their malice, thou dost not exert thyself to vanquish them with the assistance of the Most High and of his holy angels, thy ingratitude and the triumph of hell will grow in proportion to the favors thou hast received. The Most Holy Mary perceives the intentions of the demon to persecute the Church. She implores the divine assistance before the throne of the Most High in heaven. She forewarns the apostles. St. James arrives in Spain to preach the gospel and is visited there by the Most Blessed Lady. When Lucifer and the infernal chiefs, after the conversion of St. Paul, were plotting vengeance on the Most Holy Mary and the children of the Church, as described in the last chapter, they did not apprehend the knowledge of this great queen and mistress of the world penetrated. They did not apprehend that the knowledge of this great queen and mistress of the world penetrated into those obscure and profound abysses of hell, and extended to the most hidden secrets of their evil counsels. Thus deceived, the bloodthirsty dragons esteemed their victory and the full execution of their schemes against her and the disciples of her Son as most certain. But from her retreat, the Blessed Mother, with the clearness of her heavenly science, knew of all their conferences and understood all the intrigues of these enemies of the light. She perceived all their aims and the means which they intended to use, their wrath against God and against her, and their mortal hatred against the apostles and the rest of the faithful.